Russell Crusher has a radiator problem that's threatening to wreck his red-hot engine.
Desperately got to put some water in this truck. Just got to hope I can sort of save it and keep cooling it down steady.
Filling the radiator with cold water is a risky fix.
Cold water hits hot metal, tends to make it crack.
At the Hawkesbury River in New South Wales, boat trucker expert Warwick Smith has high hopes for his next move.
The structural integrity of it's supposed to be really good. Find out shortly.
That one over there for now.
In his 24 years of trucking, Warwick has moved nearly everything that floats on water.
We've moved river cats and houseboats and all that sort of stuff. We've always done oversized work.
But now he's wondering if he's met his match.
Not like it was in the photos.
A 20-year-old river cruiser that's seen better days.
It should be all right, it's floating, so that's the main thing. There's something wrong with it, wouldn't float.
If it's not ship-shape, the perilous voyage ahead could wreck this boat. Warwick needs to navigate the 20-metre-long, 5-metre-wide catamaran over country roads and city streets.
We haven't come across a job that we can't do. There's always a way around it.
From Brooklyn, north of Sydney, Warwick is moving the boat 900 kilometres south to a yard in Melbourne. The 60-person river cruiser was damaged in floods 2 years ago. But now owner Gary Broomfield has big dreams for his old boat.
Take it down to Melbourne there, put up some stands and start working on it and bring it back to more of its original glory.
Warwick's first task is to get this massive and fragile freight onto his truck. The key to success is placing slings onto the strongest part of the boat.
Because you've got to get it down underneath that motor and underneath the chest and everything.
Get it wrong, and the hull could snap.
When we lift it up and over here, we just got to make sure we're near the ribs, the structural ribs on the boat, and hope that our weights are right.
Yeah, as long as it's sort of in the middle of this window.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
With the slings positioned, they ease her up as gently as possible. Without water supporting its 23-ton weight, the long hull could easily fracture. They can finally get a good look at the old girl.
We'll try and get it there if we can. I'm going to have a look now.
Warwick doesn't like what he sees.
It's bigger than what we were told and thought. Hey, another half a metre.
A bigger boat is a gigantic problem.
And then when we've lifted on, it's all wrong.
Even half a metre is half a metre too much for Warwick's oversized permit. On the outskirts of Brisbane,
It's going to Alice Springs.
after a rough start to the year, Turbo has bounced back. For his latest job, he needs all of his know-how, teaching the next generation of truckers.
Also supposed to have front and rear signs saying oversize and a flashing light on the rear.
He's sharing 2 decades of Outback trucking knowledge.
That's what I believe makes me a good teacher, is because I've got the real world experience. You know, I'm out there every day doing it.
But after talking the talk,
Any other questions about it?
it's time to walk the walk. Turbo's got a new truck,
Bought another one. Fleet expansion.
and it's about to make its maiden run, fully loaded, straight through the centre of Australia.
This is going to be the first trip in the new truck. So, give the old girl a try.
From Brisbane, Turbo will head west, taking a dirt road shortcut to Alice Springs before turning north to Darwin for a final drop-off. It's a huge test, a massive 4,000-kilometre slog and a punishing off-road challenge.
Sometimes it can be a shit of a road. Just depends weather-wise.
Up north, it's the wet season. The forecast is for rain, and plenty of it.
All the major highways have been getting flooded and cut off. So I've got concerns about what it's actually doing out there at this stage.
Time to load up and find out. First, 18 pallets of cement mix going through to Darwin. But there's a problem. There's more than expected, and Turbo's worried about the extra weight.
But I'm just trying to work it out.
But it's 3 invoices, you add it to it.
All right. So what's the actual weight on these pallets?
1.5 each.
That's 27 tonnes.
Okay, because that puts it overweight.
Turbo's trailer can only carry 23. Running over could mean a big fine.
Can't do it. At 3.5 tonne overweight, I'm not taking that risk.
Diesel trucker Sludge is driving headlong into the most frantic month of his year.
Are you ready?
He needs to deliver over 500,000 litres of diesel to dozens of farms across thousands of kilometres.
Probably 80–90% of our work is all farm clientele.
It's harvest time, the busiest time of the year for Australia's wheat growers.
Madness, because they have everyone in there just trying to get the crop off as quick as they can.
It's Sludge's job to keep them supplied with vital fuel.
They burn huge quantities at this time of the year.
Without it, harvesting machinery would quickly grind to a halt.
No one wants to stop because they run out of fuel.
From Perth, Sludge is heading to the southern reaches of the wheat belt, to farms around Esperance. It's a 700-kilometre run over dangerous and narrow country tracks.
Whoa, Jesus! Yeah, that was interesting for a little minute.
Sludge's journey also takes him into country recently devastated by the worst bushfires in 50 years.
Some guys lost everything, just the whole houses, the whole lot were gone. So it's just devastating because they've got nothing to go home to.
The fires also claimed lives.
One of our biggest customers down here, he lost some staff in the fires. They're really nice people. Yeah, so it's a bit close to home.
Many of the same farmers are now copping another cruel blow from unseasonably wet weather.
Any rain goes through, it just wrecks the plants.
To get their crops off before the rain destroys them, farmers are working non-stop, forcing Sludge to work just as hard. And all the rain isn't helping on the road.
Like where we're going is probably 150 k's of dirt.
Dirt tracks plus water equals mud.
When it's this wet, it doesn't take much for it just to soften the road up.
With 55,000 litres of fuel on board, losing control on a slippery track would be a disaster.
They've worked it out off waterline measurements instead of overall measurements.
In rural New South Wales, oversized load veteran Warwick Smith has an oversized problem. His load, a 20-year-old river cat, is 1/2 metre longer than he expected.
We can only go off the measurements that we're given. And then when we get to put it on, we found out it was hanging over too much. And double-checked all the measurements, and yeah, it was wrong.
And when trucking oversize, every centimetre counts.
The RTO are going to come down and do a new compliance check, make sure everything's right.
The authorities want to check the boat is within the size and weight limits for his permit.
As long as we've got our weights right, all the calculations, it should be right.
Did you jump in?
Yep.
It's just like bathroom scarves?
Righto, just have to build up air.
Yeah, okay.
It's all going on the scales. The prime mover, along with the loaded trailer. Time to do the sums.
Yep.
5'2", 5'6",
Yep.
5'6",
and 5'8".
5'8".
Warwick's permit is for 25 tonnes. The numbers add up to 30.
up 5.5 tonne there, you've got to get off.
It's a bitter blow. Warwick doesn't have the right permit or trailer for the job.
Now we can put it on one of our bigger trailers, but they're not available at the moment. They're off on other jobs.
He's been left high and dry, with a load he can't deliver, costing him thousands of dollars every day the River Cat stays on his trailer.
So we've lost 5 days virtually on it. They don't want it left here in the car park. They don't want it left on my trailer, and he can't go back into the water.
At 3.5 tonne overweight, I'm not taking that risk.
In the suburbs of Brisbane, Turbo's overloaded and scratching for answers.
You can only go maximum 24 tonne. The only thing I can think of, we grabbed them last two off and we'll have to put these ones to the other trailer.
Yeah, all right.
Reloading the excess pallets onto another trailer will waste valuable time.
The whole day is just going to be f***ed up. I can tell you that right now.
And news from Alice Springs hasn't improved his mood.
Report last night is that it is flooded up there. All right, let's go.
Next up, 9 pallets of electrical distribution boards. Protecting them from the weather will be a challenge on this trip. Turbo's not having much luck with his loading today.
And now it's going to come down heavier.
It doesn't bode well for the dirt roads ahead.
Let's have a go.
Yep.
After all the delays, Turbo's schedule is blowing out. He rushes back to his loading yard to switch trailers for the extra pallets of cement mix. The second trailer already has a bulldozer on board, with plenty of room for the cement. But swapping trailers could be a problem. The rain has made the ground soft. He hopes wooden planks will stop his 23-tonne trailer from sinking.
Broken the wood. Problem is it can actually sink through the ground because the ground's wet.
It's a problem Turbo doesn't have time for.
They've obviously had a lot of water down here in the last 24 hours.
On a vital run to deliver fuel to farmers, Sludge has driven straight into bad weather.
It's going to be an interesting morning, I think.
Wet dirt roads are treacherous. Sludge is forced to slow down.
This time of year, it's just go.
His customers urgently need his fuel to harvest their crops before the rain destroys them, especially this farmer.
Run out of fuel virtually on Wednesday. It just stopped us completely.
With heavy rain forecast,
I might get a wet ass, I'd say.
Sludge needs to get to work.
All right.
Every year, this farm chews through a whopping 400,000 litres of diesel, 8 times the volume of Sludge's 2 tanks. Today's 10,000 litres will get the tractors moving again.
So yeah, it's been quite good just to get the fuel now and know we can just finish off.
But for Sludge, finishing off his job just got harder.
Should be sunny, hot, 40 degrees, and it's pissing down with rain and just
And where he's headed, it's even wetter.
No, I've had 40 millimetres.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so some guys have had 50 mils or so.
With so much rain,
Starting to dribble again now.
the road conditions are worsening.
We've been stuck on these roads before, and it just demolishes the roads as well.
Suddenly, Sludge has lost control. On the banks of the Hawkesbury River, veteran trucker Warwick Smith is dealing with a job gone wrong.
It's very, very disappointing.
He doesn't have the right trailer to take the River Cat to Melbourne, leaving him with no choice but to abandon ship.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to complete this job with the trailer that we've got there. Yeah, first in 22 years, so we've had to walk away from a job that we've taken on. It's just very disappointing.
An SOS has been sent out, and a rescue team has answered the call. The man on deck, Bob Scruffy Belcher, has just the trailer for the job.
This one here gives you more stability for starters, and on top of that, it's a lot longer trailer.
It's crucial. The River Cat is in for a choppy ride on some busy roads.
They're windy, they're narrow, up and down hill and dale. I get you to buy and pick him back up again.
The punishing route makes loading critical.
Just lift it straight down, mate. That's it. Do the same.
The River Cat's 30 tonnes must be evenly distributed on the trailer.
Just go back that way a bit.
Get it wrong,
And she comes very slow and steady.
and sections of the boat will be put under hull fracturing pressure.
We're loaded, we're just strapping down. If it moves, we're in all sorts of trouble. So.
But up ahead, there are problems he can't do anything to avoid.
From what I hear from the pilot, there's a bit of roadworks on the way.
Adding to the difficulty, Scruffy has to get through Sydney, Australia's biggest city, in the dark. The only time oversized loads are allowed through.
We'll find out what's going to happen tonight. Right.
Midnight, and the old boat is finally ready to set sail.
Let's do this. Okay at the back, mate?
Yep, let's do it.
Playtime, guys.
Scruffy will be depending on 2 pilot cars as his eyes and ears. Essential when you're driving a load almost as long as a tennis court in the pitch black.
It is dark out there and you can't hardly see anything.
Straight away, the convoy is put to the test.
That damn corner where the traffic light is.
You clear right through there?
It's definitely going to be tight.
Go out probably another 300 mil, that's about it.
That tail end right over it.
The massive turning circle on the 25-metre rig is proving a problem.
Let me just go nice and deep here too. Yuck. There we go.
Scruffy has no option but to mount the curb, putting the ageing River Cat and Scruffy under enormous stress. At his muddy Brisbane loading yard, Turbo could be facing a sinking trailer. But to make his delivery deadlines, he's decided to leave it and push on.
If it was going to sink, it would have sunk a long time ago.
After picking up the extra cement and some fertiliser, it's dog run time. 1 trailer at a time through the suburbs to hook up his road train 100 kilometres out of the city. One trailer down, 1 to go.
I'm heading home.
It's back to the yard to fetch it. But there's trouble overhead.
This isn't just a rain cell, it's actually a storm cell.
Where Turbo's going, a downpour would be a disaster, turning dirt roads into rivers.
This is just giving me a glimpse of what I'm possibly going to be facing over the next few days. 50 k an hour, 50, 70 k an hour winds. Our rain's actually coming down and just sheets across the road.
And if torrential rains weren't enough, A call from his yard with bad news about his sinking trailer.
One side has actually dropped about half a foot into the ground. They must have had a load of rain and water must have sat under there and softened it up even more. I didn't think it would have.
Without his trailer, this job will be sunk.
Whoa! Jesus! Oh, that got that marker post. Whoa!
Sludge has just driven through the fright of his life.
Don't drive off the roadsides here. She just went over a culvert and took a marker post out.
25,000 litres of flammable liquid nearly crashed into the bush.
Jesus, the roadside just disappeared. Yeah, soft on these roads down here. Whew. Yeah, that was interesting for a little minute. Thought it was going to fall over.
With twitching nerves, Sludge needs a stress-free run for the remainder of this dirt track. Not an oncoming oversized load. To make room, Sludge needs to drive back onto the same boggy shoulder he almost rolled his trailer on.
What the?
But this ain't no oversize.
You've got to be shitting me. I'd love to explain to you why that has a pilot. The reason is, I know.
Disaster avoided, Sludge approaches his next drop-off, a tree farm.
This is where they cut all the logs out and chip them.
It's a big delivery, 15,000 litres of diesel. The tank is soon topped up. But another top-up is starting to weigh on Sludge's mind.
Yeah, just the last week it started going through water. It's not leaking out anywhere.
His truck, the Phantom, has an unquenchable thirst.
8 litres today.
Run out of water and the truck will quickly overheat, destroying the engine.
It's not really the ideal situation to be running it the way it is.
On the outskirts of Brooklyn, New South Wales, Scruffy is battling to get the 20-metre river cat around a tight corner.
They don't like you very much when you knock signs over and things like that.
Without doing any damage.
Start aiming for the bush there, you should be right, I think.
With a huge load, in bad light, he's relying on his pilot to tell him what's going on at the back of the trailer.
Come back over again.
Yeah, swing over there.
Scruffy squeezed past.
The roads are not built for what we actually got on the back, so we've got to deal with it.
But dealing with it has cost valuable time.
You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's coming around the next corner. Anything can happen.
To comply with his permit, Scruffy needs to be through Sydney by daybreak.
Roadworks, left lane shut.
Oh yeah, I'll make it a little bit interesting.
Copy.
Delays from roadworks are the last thing he needs.
I wonder why we can't just go down the left-hand side here for a bit.
Because the workers are just around the bend, apparently.
Oh, okay, righto.
Scruffy has to stop while the road workers clear a path for him.
It just makes everything a bit harder.
Miss his curfew, and he's grounded.
I'm going to sit here and lose more time.
On the outskirts of Brisbane, Turbo's 23-ton trailer is stuck in the mud. Getting it out will need a bit of grunt.
Dig this out 4 hours.
It's a tight fit. But Turbo's excavations are centimetre perfect.
It's hooked in.
With the trailer finally freed, it's back out of town to hook up his road train. At last, with 2 trailers and 40 tonnes on the back, Turbo's new truck is ready to roll. But he doesn't get very far.
Light's broken a bolt.
A headlight has come loose. Keep going and it could fly clean off. Turbo saves the light, but then,
For f***'s sake.
an oil leak from his front wheel. It could mean trouble, lots of it.
Collapsed bearings, turn the truck over.
It can't be fixed on the side of the road. Turbo has to limp to the next town for help.
Get to Longreach, and that way I can get parts tomorrow.
Turbo's new pride and joy has barely made it out of Brisbane.
It's leaking, and if the oil's not kept up to it to keep it cool and lubricated, it can shear the axle off and kill us. Because it'll spit the whole wheel out, dig the front of the truck into the ground and flip it over.
Fuel trucker Sludge is reeling from one crisis to the next.
It could just be a bloody pain in the arse.
The latest, his truck's guzzling water.
It's not dripping out of it, so it's obviously going out into the exhaust and burning it up somewhere.
Run out of water and the engine will quickly destroy itself.
Hopefully as soon as we get back they'll have time at the workshop and we'll slip it in there. And
As Sludge heads to his next delivery, rain clouds start to lift. Good news for the farmers who want a dry crop to harvest. But just a few weeks ago, these farmers were praying for rain to put out raging bushfires.
it was one of our biggest customers down here. He lost some staff in the fires.
4 people lost their lives.
They're really nice people. It was, they were backpackers just here for the season. One of the local farmers was killed in the fire as well. He was trying to tell people to get out before the fires come and he got killed himself. So it's hit the community pretty hard. Tractor over there, burnt out.
Sludge's next customer faced the full brunt of the inferno.
Yeah, the fires came pretty close. They did go around the house. Yeah, no, it was just unreal. Conditions were just insane. But it has burnt out 70% of our wheat program that we had here.
There's one more important delivery before Sludge can head for home.
All right, done.
For this one, he doesn't need his tanks on the back. Sludge is on his way to pick up a gift.
Bob that I work for Oil Tech Fuel, he's donating 8,000 litres of fuel.
It's a giant tank of diesel for the farmers devastated by the fires. But as he slows down to hook it up,
Doesn't look good.
his engine's cut out.
It's actually getting worse.
On a Sydney motorway, roadworks are frustrating Scruffy.
I'm going to sit here and lose more time.
While time runs out on his permit. 200 metres of cones and signs need to be moved to let Scruffy by.
All right, we're out of here. want to get past it and get going again.
With daybreak fast approaching, Scruffy's finally made it out of Sydney. He's beaten the curfew. Ahead, it's a clear road, but driving flat out is not an option.
If I get along the road at about this speed, the poor old boat, she's a bit on the rickety side, and if we go any harder than this, 10 to 1 it's going to fall a bit. So I end up with a major accident on the highway.
Even at low speeds, the River Cat is struggling. Scruffy spotted a problem with one of its windows.
Ah, there. That one. See that there?
A window pane has come loose. With 300 kilometres to go, it needs to be secured.
Making sure that the windows don't fall out.
No matter what Scruffy does, this boat is breaking up.
You can't transport it any slower than what I have been.
In his busiest month of the year, fuel trucker Sludge has a serious problem.
It's actually getting worse.
Not only is his truck sucking up litres of water, when the engine is idling, its computer is shutting it down.
I stopped and she shut down because it was low on water. Get her back first tonight, hopefully. Get her looked at in the morning. That's if she lasts that long.
He hopes another water top-up will keep it going. His temporary fix works. Sludge can get on with the job at hand, delivering 8,000 litres of donated diesel to farmers ravaged by the recent bushfires.
It'll just help them restart because some of them have got absolutely nothing. They've lost it all. Yep, should be just up here to the left.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's all right, mate. That's good.
Next big job, hook up and head for the mechanics.
You got to get this thing home. Right or wrong, this has to be at the workshop at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning so we can work out what's wrong with it. It shouldn't be too hard a thing to find. It was a little hole before, it sure as hell isn't a little hole now.
Halfway home, Sludge is forced to pull over. His truck is a ticking time bomb. With every passing kilometre, it's using more and more water.
Anyhow, we'll fire it up and we'll see how we go. Hopefully we'll make it.
Sludge needs to make it back before the Phantom shuts down for good. Finally, his hometown of Perth is in sight. If he has to stop, the idling truck will shut itself off.
Because once I drop the revs, then the water stops flowing. And that's what sets the sensor off to shut the motor down.
But now, a red light. Sludge tries to keep the revs up. It's the last push home.
Well, we're in the gate. We are here.
Sludge and the Phantom have made it. His pride and joy need some urgent attention.
That's her.
But once again, it's carried Sludge through a crucial run of deliveries.
She's got me home again, down to the workshop in the morning.
Boats are meant to float on the water and not sit on the truck and get bounced down the highway.
In rural Victoria, Scruffy's battling to keep his fragile load in one piece.
Let's steady this thing up a bit.
The city of Melbourne is only 100 kilometres away, where he faces another curfew.
You don't want to get caught in the middle of Melbourne under peak hour traffic because, yeah, it's not real nice.
Scruffy can't take his oversized load into busy daytime city traffic.
Pulled up here at Calcallo. I'm waiting on curfew so I can actually take it into where it has to go to, mate.
Time to drop anchor and wait.
We've got to be in there by 5 o'clock.
2 a.m. Scruffy's got 3 hours to get into Melbourne and make a challenging delivery.
Comb your hair.
He's keeping his cool, but it's a tough test.
Pitch black out there. You can't see what the heck's happening, and makes it a bit harder to see the sides of your load and everything.
And playing on his mind, a narrow entrance gate at the delivery yard.
Concerned I'm not going to make the turn. I'm taking my dolly off before I actually get to where I have to unload it.
He'll need to make his rig shorter. Scruffy hopes that by losing his small dolly trailer, he'll be able to make the turn into the yard. Just.
I think it's a bit of a turning lane. Yeah, we just got to get it over there.
But he'll lose precious time rearranging truck and trailer.
Right, that's as far as you're going to get over, mate. I'll just park myself back here a bit and keep the flashes going.
First, he unhooks the river cat.
That's it. Yeah, we've got to get this dolly off. Running out of time.
While the river cat waits, Scruffy unhooks the dolly near the delivery site. Now a dash back to the boat to hook up again.
Oh, we've got half an hour to get back there, hook it up, and then on top of that, we still got to get the damn thing in there. Watch the fingers. Copy. We're out of here. Where the heck is this place?
Scruffy's got only 15 minutes to get 10 kilometres before his curfew is up.
Later off the curve on the left.
No, I just got my lights on the gate there.
Brilliant.
Got the gate.
Not much room inside there, I'll get you.
I'm going in really, really deep.
Now to see if his shortened rig was worth it.
How much is on the left?
Yeah, you clear. Just keep going straight, mate.
Let me know when the back is in.
There you go, Scruff. You're in the gate.
Thank Christ for that. Guess what? We still had 7 minutes to go. How's that?
This move was on the rocks until Scruffy answered the SOS call. For this old girl, all that's left is her voyage to former glory. Turbo and his new truck are in trouble in a remote corner of Queensland.
It's your last place. Basically the last frontier.
He fears a mystery oil leak is from a failing wheel bearing.
Collapsed bearings, turn the truck over.
If that is the problem, Turbo needs replacement parts.
The closest parts I can get for it is Townsville.
That's 800 kilometres away and in the wrong direction. After half an hour watching it,
I'm trying to work out exactly where it is leaking from.
the mystery leak has dried up.
Because the more I look at it, it's not leaking out of it. So, could be old excess oil.
Turbo thinks he's safe to push on. He's now heading into the serious side of this run. An 800-kilometre dirt road shortcut through desolate country.
Bag on the dirt.
Taking this track shaves 500 kilometres off Turbo's route.
Where this is going to bring me out, it's going to be roughly about 70 or 80 clicks north of Alice Springs. So then it's only just a short hop into Alice.
But the shortcut comes with a price tag. Heat, dust, and load-destroying corrugations. Hundreds of kilometres from help.
You cannot get any more remote than this.
And it doesn't take long for the corrugations to take their toll.
There's one part of the load that I'm concerned is the very two back pallets, because they're shifting around. We'll be checking it all out and see what's going on.
He's made it to a remote cattle station.
All right, something's going on.
Checking his load, his worst fears are quickly confirmed. Dozens of bags have broken loose.
Nothing I can do. It's just, I'm going to have to try to bloody pull it all off pallets and stack it.
Turbo is staring down the barrel of some hard graft. And the bad news just gets worse.
I think I know exactly what it is now. The actual hub itself, the shit itself, is cracked.
His luck with the wheel bearing has run out. It's completely destroyed. Push on, and he's inviting disaster.
Well, what's going to happen is the bearings aren't going to be lubricated, they're going to overheat and then explode.
His only option, a favour from the station owner and some clever bush repairs.
I'm going to have to do a rebuild here in the morning. I'm going to have to see if I can use his workshop, and I'll have to deal with it when I get to Darwin.
Turbo's shortcut through the Outback is quickly turning into a fast road to ruin. In his scrap metal yard in Alice Springs, Russell Crusher McDonough is supervising last-minute repairs.
What we've done, we've just fitted a new hose on the door on both sides of this one ram.
Before his newest piece of machinery faces its first serious money-making test.
We're going to be about 500 kilometres away, so it's easier to sort of get them done now than have to travel back. It's a 1,000-kilometre round trip to pick up a hose.
Russell found this metal-munching monster in India and decided he had to have it.
Took me 12 months, 2 trips to India, untold emails and debates and battles with customs, battles with quarantine, battles with the import people. But finally we got it here.
What started out as a bargain $50,000 buy blew out to a $200,000 investment after shipping and repairs. Now, after nearly a year of fixing, it's ready to test in his yard. This crusher is faster than Russell's previous machine, capable of crunching more than 20 tons of metal an hour. Russell's ready to see if his new toy can pay its way.
We're just getting ready to head out on this trip.
He's about to tow the new machine from his base in Alice Springs, 450 kilometres to the resort town of Yulara, near the famous rock of Uluru. He hopes to chomp through this ugly mountain of waste and through his mounting bills. The scrap metal price is rising again after 2 years in the doldrums. If the new crusher is as fast as Russell hopes, he could be in the money.
Well, I'm quite happy with the way this thing's working out. I just look forward to tackling this pile.
But it's a huge job to eliminate a historic eyesore in an otherwise stunning outback landscape. Russell's tackled the metal mountain before, making crushing trips out here for the past 5 years.
We attempted to do this mountain with my old machine and our men, but it just was too labour intensive and no production.
This time, he hopes to make a serious dent in the pile. But first, he and his 30-year-old truck have to haul the whole operation to the site.
I love driving this truck.
A day's drive through the intense heat of Central Australia. A place where the temperature often exceeds 50 degrees. An hour into the journey, Russell stops to check everything is travelling well. A telltale trail of fluid soon lets him know it isn't. It's fuel leaking from a tank on the new crusher.
Hang on, dear. I'm going straight through the middle.
In the north of Western Australia. Nick and Joe are halfway through a rescue mission.
What are you worrying about, dear? Absolutely nothing. See?
Bumping around on their back trailer, an unusual load. The remains of a World War II aircraft. A 70-year-old B-25 bomber that crash-landed on a remote airfield.
Picking up this aircraft here, I've never actually carted an old bloody wrecked aircraft before.
Nick and Joe are carting it back to civilization for restoration by aviation enthusiasts 3,000 kilometres away in Adelaide.
I've got my doubts, so I don't know if they can do it or not. It's a logistic nightmare, it really is.
It's proving to be a tough assignment. The rough road is shaking the plane apart.
That piece is slowly ripping off. Come on, old girl, pull this one up.
Now the whole operation has stalled.
Dirty mongrel thing.
Doesn't look like much, but it's enough to pull you up nearly every time.
They're less than halfway through their journey from the remote mission outpost of Columbaroo, 500 kilometres back to their home base at Kununurra.
Didn't think I was going to get up there for a minute. He made it.
We should pull up with Tour right now. Just getting that first heavy one over, that was probably would have been what pulled us up.
Right. Radio.
Time for round two. The trailers with the precious plane. Even a lighter load is a struggle.
It's a mongrel little hill, that one.
The rough ride up the hill could have damaged Nick's drive tyres.
They can rip in a bit. Just rip big chunks off the bloody tyres. And try to be careful, but sometimes it just doesn't happen.
The last chore of the day now is just to try and get to somewhere to have a camp and a wash before it gets completely dark.
Well, we'll just go to this little creek up the road. It'll probably be dark by the time we get there anyway. We'll pull up there.
Nick and Joe will be camping out for their 8th night in a row. They're still 2 days away from home.
The sun's just about gone.
Next morning, it's weather that has Nick worried.
Very funny weather, and it's humid this morning. And it's pretty heavy cloud too.
They still have more than 300 kilometres of dirt road to travel.
She's bloody rolling in. I think the monsoon is getting closer.
Like 10 to 7 in the morning and already it's pretty solidly overcast the whole way around.
If it rains, there'll be water hazards all the way.
There could easily be 100 or more small creek crossings, probably more, just floodways and little gutters and streams and rivers. Every one of them is impassable and cuts you off. You know, it only takes a couple of inches of rain. And yeah, and once the rain sets in, that's it, they're up and they'll stay up for the next 4 months or so. We've been trapped like several times where we've had to leave the truck and we've had to walk to the nearest station and then go back for stores and stuff.
In Western Australia, it's grape harvesting season, which means a long overnight shift for truckie Kelly Harble.
Let's get this show on the road. I love driving at night because you've got the whole road to yourself, no one's on it.
Kelly's one of the specialist drivers responsible for getting the grapes from the vines to the winery on time.
We're around the clock at the moment.
Every load is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Breakdowns or delays can throw the critical harvest process into chaos. Grapes are a delicate product to transport. If they're not handled properly, their quality can suffer and a whole vintage could be compromised.
Good old Rocky Gully, hey? Ho, ho, ho. At the moment, we're heading out about 6 k's out of Rocky Gully. We're going to go out and get some red grapes, and I'll probably bring back about 35 tonne.
The wine industry is a multi-million-dollar earner in the southwest of Western Australia. Kelly is the vital link between the fields and the fermenters.
Well, if I don't show up with the empties, they've got nothing to put the grapes in. It's as simple as that.
Kelly trucks in empty bins and takes them out full of fruit. Nearly a tonne in each bin. Not easy in the dark.
You know, it's all right when you've been out here a couple of times, but the first time you're just on edge all the time. Especially some of the directions they give you. You can't miss it.
The grapes are picked at night when it's cool to stop premature fermenting.
I might just stop here and just have a chat to Kylie. See. Hey, Ray. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Kelly has an exact time she has to deliver to the winery in the morning.
10 a.m. booking. Okay.
It's 300 kilometres away on rough, winding roads.
Primarily, we're at night time on the road, anywhere from 12 o'clock midnight right through till 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, working at night just makes everything 10 times harder.
If anything's going to delay her, like problems with the picking,
if it gets cold, the reds find it a bit hard to come off.
She needs to know now.
It's a bit cool too tonight, so they might have difficulty getting it off. How are they going out there?
Yeah, it's coming off.
Coming off? Yep. What time do you reckon I'll be out of here?
When the sun comes up.
When the sun comes up?
Yeah, I think you'll probably leave at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Time is now. We can have a sleep. We can have a beer and a sleep. We better not.
But before a sleep in the truck, Kelly will have to sort out a problem. She's short on bins.
There's been a bit of a stuff up with what companies brought the bins out tonight. I should have brought a lot more bins out with me, but they just weren't there at the winery when I left.
Kelly's expected to deliver as many tonnes of grapes as can be loaded on the truck.
2 at the back. And 6 on top is 8. I need an extra 8.
Turning up 8 tonnes short isn't good for anyone's business.
Pain in the arse.
Just out of Alice Springs, a trail of leaking fluid has brought Russell Crusher's road train to a standstill.
We've got a clear plastic tube on here which tells me the amount of fuel in this 1,000-litre tank. It come off at the top just with the heat. and fell down. It's that far back, I couldn't see it.
Around 200 litres of diesel have been lost. A frustrating start to Russell's trek to test his new crusher out at a metal dump site at Uluru.
Luckily I did stop here. Luckily I didn't stop at Ayers Rock, because I'd had no fuel then.
Back on the highway, the heat is sweltering, testing man and machine.
Leaving in the heat of the day is not the cleverest thing to do. It's not about getting there quickly, it's just about getting there. Still remember the old fairy book tale about the tortoise and the hare. The old turtle got there first in the end, but that's because he just kept at it.
But the tortoise didn't have to worry about a dodgy radiator and a 30-year-old engine overheating.
And I can smell coolant. And I can smell coolant. I can see that. It got warm and just spat a bit out of the overflow. But it's just consistently sitting on 100 there. Now it might be something a bit more serious, so I just pull up and have a look. I've started slowing down. It hasn't cooled down yet.
It's worse than Russell expected. The radiator's nearly dry, the old engine close to seizing.
This really is a serious problem, so like I just gotta, deal with it.
It needs water in a hurry. He can't wait for the radiator to cool down. It's cold water into a hot radiator. In Western Australia's winemaking country, Kelly Harble has a late-night maths problem to solve.
And 34 is a full load, plus 6 on top.
She's trying to work out if she has enough grape bins.
17, that's what I said, 17.
To make up a full load to take to the winery.
Yeah, Brett said that they had enough there.
Yeah, no.
If her truck is light for the 300-kilometre journey, that's lost income.
How many do you need?
Very good question.
Counting on the run late at night is confusing, but Kelly estimates she's arrived 8 bins short. That's nearly 8 tonnes of grapes worth thousands of dollars that won't go for crushing.
No, you're not coming to do the third load, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're coming here. When you drop that first load off, you better pick up 12 or something.
Yep, no worries.
I think.
Kelly's in luck. Another driver can bring the extras.
So it's going to be okay. The bins will get delivered and the fruit will get to the winery.
Bin problem solved.
Bring 17, cheese gold, total 34.
But now Kelly has another worry, keeping to her schedule. In the fields, the picking machines are running late.
Absolutely time critical to be at the winery at the time that they want us there. If we're late, that puts the whole show completely off balance. They'll be preparing vats and all sorts of things. Now, if I'm late, if I'm 3 hours late and another truck comes in with another variety on before me, they've got to change the whole setup that they've done. I've got a booking for 10. I'd hope that the truck is fully loaded by 5:30 and earlier if possible, and let's throw the straps on and get out of here. I'm going to go and have a little kip. Yep. Would you mind knocking on my door when you're halfway down the B trailer? Yep. And I'll come out and start throwing some straps in. All right, thanks, mate.
While the pickers work through the night, Kelly can get some much-needed rest. It'll be an early start.
I'm going to get a good 5 hours sleep here. This is going to be good. So yeah, I'll put my head down and have a sleep. So, good night. Another day. All right then, we're good to go. Let's throw some straps.
But there's bad news. Only 2/3 of the bins have been loaded.
It's all been running a bit late this morning.
Clawing back time from here is going to be near impossible.
starting to turn the shit now.
On their mission to salvage a World War II B-25 warplane, Nick and Joe have double trouble on their hands. Threatening skies.
So I'd like to get off the road before this weather really comes in, and this morning's just the hottest morning we've had in the whole sort of eight odd days we've been on the road.
And on the ground, bone shaking. Load destroying corrugations.
This is where this plane and bloody shit will give us drama on these corrugations through here. Because this part of the road is horrid for corrugations. Because this plane won't handle rattling over them corrugations for too long. It'll just rattle to bits. So that'll be the big challenge, trying to keep it all in one piece.
The plane is so delicate, it's been sitting for 73 years in the long grass, getting burnt and corroded, and it's weakened obviously in a huge amount compared to what it had been, so this will really test it out.
It's going to be very, very slow, idle speed I reckon.
We've got to drive along at 12k an hour for 2 days. Well, that's what we can do to try and make it travel as best it can, our contribution.
It's going to make it a long day.
It means constant stops to check on the condition of the old war warrior.
See what sort of damage we've done on these bloody corrugations. It's doing a lot of rattling around on there. Oh, little bits and pieces are starting to shake off. Vibrating, all these rivets starting to pop out. Look. Part of the plane. That's what I mean, look, just bloody constantly rattling around, just shears it off. No, it's not exactly all structurally bloody thing in one piece where you can actually strap it down tight, so we're doing the best we can.
Wouldn't be the first time that 60 kilometres has taken me 6 or 7 hours to do, so.
Very, very slow.
Back on the move, there's a new menace holding them up. Wild cattle with no road sense.
They're just funny sometimes, the way these ones, they just belt along the side of the truck, and you're like, you got, 50 million acres, just, chuck a right and go anywhere, and they don't, they just sort of hang and follow you on the road or something.
Beautiful looking specimen of a bull. I'm trying to wheel this out.
Russell Crusher has a radiator problem that's threatening to wreck his red-hot engine.
Desperately got to put some water in this truck. Just got to hope I can sort of save it and keep cooling it down steady.
Filling the radiator with cold water is a risky fix.
Cold water hits hot metal. Tends to make it crack.
Starting to swallow water now without spitting it back out.
At last, the temperature gauge is starting to drop. It looks like he's finally got things under control. The temperature is back down to where it should be. Russell's found the culprit.
The radiator cap rusted out and busted apart, so it's just pumped all the water out.
After all the repair work, the engine's cool. And it's Russell who's overheating.
All right, well, looks like it might be all right. But I'll give it a run up the road now and just see how it goes.
Back on the road, gauges are warning him once again.
80's like a nice temperature, 100 is starting to get warm, 110 is too much.
The engine temperature is on the rise.
Let's go. That's better.
Grape transporter Kelly is rushing to get her truck loaded. She's running late and should already be on the road, heading to the winery 300 kilometres away.
We're under some pressure to get there in time.
Overnight picking in the vineyards was slower than expected.
2, 4, 6 to go. No, 6, 8, 9. Another hour or so.
That's piled the pressure on Kelly, who's loaded up with $80,000 worth of top-grade Shiraz grapes.
There's really nothing you can do about it. The machine works at a certain speed, and that's the way it is. So they're just saying now, because we're running behind time, they're going to go and pick this block over here to the left, because it's a lot thicker and we can fill the bins a lot quicker. Well, they should have done that last night.
Between the vineyards and the winemaking plant is a difficult 4-hour drive along narrow country roads.
Right at the moment, it's 7:30 in the morning. I should have been on the road an hour and a half ago.
Kelly has a 10 a.m. arrival slot at the plant.
1 bin to go, we're nearly there. Come on, Carls, get me loaded, get me out of here. Righto, that's a mighty fine looking load. Everybody will be happy with that.
12 hours after arriving at the vineyard, Kelly's truck is finally ready to roll. Loaded up with a valuable cargo of more than 39 tonnes of grapes, around 30,000 bottles of famous Margaret River wine.
Heavy double off South Quindabella Road, westbound Muir Highway.
But Kelly has to get it there first. The early part of the journey is along a narrow, winding road.
Full concentration level now. You'll see a different person from the person who was loading the truck an hour ago to the person who's driving now. The weather this morning is a little bit overcast, but it will matter as we get to the Manjimup Forest, that's for sure. It'll be a bit wet and slimy along that road, so we've just got to be extra careful. This is what I'm getting paid for, so you just got to be on the ball all the time.
I'm trying to wheel his out.
Nick and Joe are dodging wild cattle on their drive back to civilization.
Oh, I just decided to run in front of the truck and, yeah, just the way cattle behave sometimes.
And it's not just cattle slowing them up.
Water monitor, he's not bloody in a rush. Then we have a beautiful specimen of a short-horn cow. Might be a short-horn that runs in front of me.
They're at the end of an exhausting 10-day trip to the top end of Western Australia.
Just trying to get to camp up here on this river before it gets completely pitch black. Bush turkey.
Don't you dare, you windscreen breaker. Quick, grab by the legs. Turkey for dinner.
In the morning, Nick has a surprise for Joe.
Aw, it's good that you had a shave this morning. It was getting a bit feral.
I'm getting a little old.
You are old. No, I'm kidding.
The grey hairs, the stress getting to me off this road. And we're going in town. Got to look nice and neat and tidy.
Because we're so presentable.
They're hoping today's the day they get the B-25 bomber safely back to their base at Kununurra.
So far, so good anyway.
But there's plenty of trailer trashing dirt road in front of them.
And back to Corrugate, the road's pretty rough from here. Basically to the bitumen's pretty bloody horrid. The corrugations, I'm a bit worried about this plane on here because the pop rivets are starting to pop out the side. A couple of little pieces have broke off. We're going to suck every last breath out of everything we've got. This is the sort of stuff that'll just shake that plane a bit at this speed. Oh, rough. Real rough.
On a grueling hilly section, Nick notices a problem.
Well, when I put my foot on the brake, the air starts hissing out of the valve, the red valve there, because that's the air supply. Losing air pressure, and as soon as you lose air pressure in a prime mover and trailers, you've got breakaway brakes on, so as soon as the air pressure goes down, your brakes will automatically come on. It's not a good thing if you're like halfway up a hill and you're losing all your air, your brakes will just pull you up, and that's something you don't want all going down.
Russell's having an uphill battle, getting his new crusher to Uluru.
It's just working hard coming through these hills, so the temperature's back up again, but that's because it's working. Got about 90, 95. It's not exactly cool outside, but we're just about to crest this hill. It all changes. That's it, going uphill, hard work, going downhill, not so bad.
But after a long, sweaty day, at last the engine's running cool and the heat is out of the sun. Russell will have a night in the desert to help him chill out. In the morning, he'll fire up his new machine and take on this, a scrap metal mountain. For decades, it's been a scar on the landscape. 25 kilometres from the world-famous rock, a dumping ground for everything metal.
Hi mate, good to see you.
Yeah.
The Resort Waste Services Manager, Mark Standing, is overseeing the massive clean-up.
If we're in a town, you know, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, whatever, this stuff would be worth a fortune. You'd make a mint out of it. But because of the transport costs, we can't just take it 450 k's. You know what I mean? And that's only to Alice. Then Alice would have to ship it down to Adelaide or over to Sydney or whatever.
The question now is, will Russell's imported crusher be up to the job?
Well, I don't know. The last time I saw that new machine, it was somewhat of a mess. So I haven't actually seen it operating, but I've heard that it is a very good machine.
But Russell's not happy with what he's found.
I'm here to do with the scrap metal, and all there is dirt pushed up everywhere. Dirt, trees.
A bulldozer has pushed a pile into a smaller area, mixing the metal with sand.
We sell steel, not dirt. Completely blows out the window what I had in my head that I was going to do. I was intent on just digging a little track into a mountain, and then I would have been surrounded on 3 sides.
Piling on the pressure, Russell's mate Buddy from Adelaide is waiting to cart the crushed cubes of scrap away. His time is money.
The main priority is to actually start seriously producing some product that I can load onto this truck.
Time to get to work.
There's going to be a fair bit of this mucking around, just moving small stuff out of the way so I can get closer to the bigger, more concentrated piles.
The new crusher is just what Russell hoped it would be. Stronger and faster than the last one.
10 bales done so far. Try and get him a couple of loads ready. Take advantage of the fact that he's already here.
Suddenly, hydraulic fluids bleeding from the loading arm. The operation grinds to a halt. Grape trucker Kelly's running 2 hours late, but this isn't the road to be trying to catch up on time.
It's a major highway, and look at the state of it. The road is really narrow.
Narrow with soft gravel edges.
There'll be no doubt we'll find ourselves on that edge there a couple of times today. It's the minute you just start getting a bit complacent out here, that's when it just all goes to shit.
Meet another truck on this road, and it's hold your breath.
And I'm going to pick it, and there it is, and...
It's not just oncoming traffic Kelly's worried about. If the grapes are still on the back of the truck in the late morning sun, the sugar levels will rise, and fermentation can start prematurely.
Yeah, it's 10 to 12 now, and we were meant to be there at 10 o'clock.
She's being held up. Weaving her B-double through small towns. And bigger ones, like Margaret River.
It's a day before Easter, so we can anticipate that the Margaret River region is going to be absolutely chock-a-block on the roads. And as you can see, the road has already gotten very busy. Now we hit traffic.
It's one hold-up after another.
And roadworks. Some of them as well. Come on.
And just when Kelly thinks she's clear,
well, we've got the roadworks. We've stopped now because we're just at the edge of the new Margaret River bypass road that's getting built.
but Kelly's been driving big rigs for 20 years.
The roadworks, yeah, they hold you up a fair bit.
Long enough to know patience is the most important tool in a truckie's survival kit.
We're rolling. We're nearly at the winery. It's about 3 k's on the other side of there, and we're there. We are very, very late.
Delivered.
You little ripper.
Nearly 40 tonnes of red grapes that will soon be crushed, fermented and bottled, landing on dining tables as the world-famous Margaret River Red.
G'day, mate.
You have a good trip?
How are ya?
Good, my dear.
Oh, good to see ya.
Excellent.
Here's your product.
Wicked. Got my Shiraz.
Got your Shiraz. We are very, very late, but...
Oh, shit happens. Can't do it.
But we're here in the end.
How's the main thing?
Safe and sound.
Thanks to a vintage performance from a veteran truckie.
Load is delivered. Vineyards are happy. Owners, operators, everybody's happy. It took a little bit longer than everybody anticipated last night. It was a big day. When you're working in the transport industry, these things happen. People run late. We nailed it last night, so it was a good lot to bring in, for nearly 40 tonne.
Losing air pressure, and as soon as you lose air pressure in a prime mover and trailers, brakes will automatically come on. They're a safety thing.
Still battling to get home with the bomber intact, Nick's got a problem.
It's not a good thing if you're like halfway up a hill and you're bloody losing all your air, your brakes will just pull you up.
He suspects he's got a fault in a device that's supposed to boost his braking power. Now, instead of helping him, every time he puts his foot on the brake, they're locking on.
Must have a tiny little pinhole in it. And I've got one big jump up. Down, I've got to actually go down. It's about 3-4 kilometres long. So yeah, and when you've got your foot on the brake for a long period of time, the air pressure starts dropping down, the brakes will come on. And that's something I don't want, otherwise I'll be halfway down the jump up and pull up.
Nick needs to pull up and see how bad the problem is.
Rightio, I'm going to replace that booster, eh? Or that diaphragm, providing I've got a spare one. I'm pretty sure I've got a spare one here.
He's sure the culprit will be a punctured rubber diaphragm.
That's what I wanted.
Out here, it pays to always carry a spare.
Running repairs, and there's the one with the hole in it. That's just the dust and stuff that gets in them from just constantly rattling up this road. You've got to keep an eye on everything that's going on because things can go terribly wrong. You know, if you don't keep on top of it. I need my brakes to actually hold me so I can unhook the trailer. And if I unhook the trailer on the jump up, my brakes aren't working. 2 trailers roll back downhill with a load of freight on. It makes me liable for the freight because with my stuff up. I'm happy with that. No air leaks, no nothing.
After nearly 2 weeks away, Nick and Joe are almost home.
We've only got 25 odd K of dirt to go, one more river crossing.
So yeah, it's a nice feeling to get here in one piece without too many bloody dramas or hiccups.
Then bitumen for the last 80 K and happy happy.
It looks like the priceless war relic has survived the worst of it.
No more dust and no more rattles and really no more, you know, flat tyres, and that plane will travel super well, so.
We made it.
If it was easy, every man and his dog would be going up to Columbia and it wouldn't just be us, so.
And anybody that wants to give it a go is quite bloody welcome to. Heading back to town, heading back to Kununurra now.
From Kununurra, the plane will be put on another truck bound for Adelaide, 3,000 kilometres away.
Our little job's done. Our little plane's going to head off to its new home.
Days later, after a marathon journey, it arrives at Adelaide's Parafield Airport.
Wow, this is fantastic.
Met by the two men who organised its rescue.
What it's been through and how long it's been out in the weather, it's in surprisingly good nick.
Considering where it's come from and how far it's come, I'm really happy, I'm stoked.
It's a big moment for Peter and Ian. Their reward, thanks to Nick and Joe's hard work.
I'm a little bit embarrassed because I just thought, oh no, they're never going to do it, but they did it all right, crikey. You know, this was just wasting away up there in remote Australia, and now it's here, and now it's got a future.
A piece of history preserved.
161, Mississippi Dream. There you go. 15 years I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. Oh, how lucky are we to get this.
Work at the Uluru Scrap Metal Mountain is at a standstill.
Just noticed a fine mist of oil floating around.
Russell's still trying to fix a leak in the hydraulics of his new machine.
So the fittings might have come loose, so just got to tighten it up, hopefully.
It's the new crusher's first big test, but after a promising start, this is a worrying fail. The downtime isn't just costing Russell money. His mate Buddy has an idle truck. He's waiting to cart the scrap metal bales 2,000 kilometres to city markets.
Yeah, I can tell when he starts walking around like this that he's getting impatient, right? So I've got to get this stuff baled and onto his truck. The last thing I want to see is him driving out of here empty and cranky.
My birthday's in November. I should be unloaded by then.
He needs a quick fix for his $200,000 metal muncher.
All good now.
With more lost time and with Buddy getting impatient,
Hurry up, I want to get loaded.
Russell needs this operation to go at double speed. Time for the big guns. With a borrowed bulldozer, he carves out a path to the middle of the mountain, where the crusher can get stuck into the serious stuff.
There's room enough for me to get in, and then there's room enough for Buddy to back in, and as I make the bales, I can throw them straight on him.
At last, Russell's conquering the mountain.
Now I've got that first trailer done. I've got this hole here. I'm home and hosed. This is going good. This pile's here. I've got it beat.
Thanks to Russell and his crusher, a small part of a famous piece of Australia will be restored to its original and beautiful state. Outback trucker Justin Harrison is taking his father on one last wild ride.
Might be a bit different further up the track, but just here's not too bad.
Dad put the curse on us and jinxed us. Corrugation's probably your worst nightmare. Comes to wrecking things.
John Harrison is a 40-year veteran trucker.
We've got to get a chain in and lift it up.
Who's about to retire from the battles of the road.
This is probably the last big long trip I'll be doing. Dad's getting to the end of his tether now, so it was just good to get one more in with him.
But not before taking on the infamous Birdsville track with a gruelling 1,700-kilometre heavy haul from Birdsville to Mackay in North Queensland, delivering a 30-tonne combine harvester.
It's a load that's sort of oversized in all dimensions.
Halfway through the journey, and they've already been to hell and back.
No, we're just pulling up. I just noticed something's not right. It's not good.
2 wheels ripped from the chassis.
It's not good at all.
Justin trapped beneath the truck.
I'm too fat to get out.
A 40-tonne trailer threatening to crush him.
Get something under that, please, Dad, because I'm out of space here.
Father and son stranded with a half-day supply of water.
We probably had another 20 litres of drinking water out there.
Their lives in danger under the searing desert sun.
It's getting a bit hot out there. I believe it's every bit of 41 today. Oh, dear.
200 kilometres from the nearest help, Justin and John chain their damaged axle.
We need a bit of good luck to get into town to get this repaired.
And limp into Birdsville. Population 115.
Thankfully, we're here. We're in one piece, and the truck's here and so is this.
They survive with their lives, but in this remote outback town, the chances of repairing the badly damaged truck are slim.
We've just got to continue on with this chained up and keep getting there, otherwise we won't get to where we've got to get in time for delivery.
John's final road trip is turning into a nightmare.
So we're just leaving Birdsville now.
Father and son will need all their combined years of trucking experience to make it to the finish line.
We've got to just be a bit cautious with this trailer, how it is on the rough stuff.
Less than 100 kilometres out of Birdsville, and the rough dirt road threatens to shake loose their makeshift axle repair.
Irrigations are always waiting to pop their ugly heads up, and it's only chains holding things.
Just as the heavy vibrations begin to get worse, Justin sees every Outback trucker's favourite sight.
I like to get off the rough stuff onto the smooth stuff.
The 2 truckers can breathe easy. With hundreds of kilometres of smooth road ahead of them, they might just make it safely to Queensland.
Yeah, it's a good thing to get back on this bitumen until we can get this trailer repaired, because it is always on my mind, just waiting for something to go wrong.
And it does.
We've got the road closed, so we've just got to have another look at the map. Have a quick squiz at this and see what happens. We've got no service here. We've got to get the old Atlas out.
With a 30-tonne combine harvester resting on a crippled axle, they have to find a safe road forward.
So this is the road that we're right here right now. You've got to be kidding. 78 k's of dirt.
That's a pain in the arse, that is.
Just another thing that's thrown at us today.
Just when Justin thought he'd finished with the dirt hasn't finished with him. On the Queensland coast, rookie trucker Mick Coolidge is about to tackle his first ever delivery run, hauling nearly $70,000 of prize horses on some of the Northern Territory's most isolated roads. Mick might be new to the transport business.
Stop, back up a bit and turn.
But he knows how to handle tricky customers.
Stop. Turns.
From thoroughbreds to wild brumbies, he trains horses at his farm in Queensland's Glasshouse Mountains.
I've got 30-odd horses, I breed them, and when I walk in the paddock with them, they all come run to me. If you treat them right, they'll treat you right. You know?
For over 2 decades, Mick's horsemanship has entertained crowds across Australia.
I've got a show called Rings of Fire. I jump 6 rings of fire with 12 cannons going off. The horse is blindfolded. So that's very unique. It's the only one in the world, and we're here in Australia.
With only 10 performances a year, business is tough, and Mick's expensive truck and trailer are left unused.
I thought I'll start up a trucking business, transport horses.
With no experience in the haulage industry, it's a risky move. Mick's first delivery is a valuable load.
Well, these are the guys that are going on a trip.
3 thoroughbred and 4 stock horses, worth up to $10,000 each.
I've got to get a bit of his trust, because he's going to have to follow me to the truck and be with me for the next 4 days.
From the Glasshouse Mountains in Queensland, Mick's journey will cover just under 3,500 kilometres across the top end to Darwin. His delivery deadline is 5 days away, and recent downpours have left him frustratingly behind schedule.
We were supposed to leave nearly 2 weeks ago, but because of the floods, we had to postpone the trip. The roads are open now, but our main concern is to keep going. If we're stuck anywhere more than 10 minutes or so, we'll have to unload.
4 a.m, and Mick prepares to secure his unpredictable load.
Look yourself.
He's recruited experienced horse handler Jessica Fallis.
So we'll get the first one here and then so on.
7 horses are making the long trip.
Hey, buddy.
Keeping them calm is crucial.
That's a big car. You're gonna be stuck in a truck together for a while.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I know. But guess what?
The horses are spooked. If Mick and Jessica can't calm them down, they'll be forced into a costly delay. It's not a good start for Mick's new trucking business. At the top of Western Australia, the ancient landscape of the Kimberley is one of the world's last wilderness frontiers. The sun-baked town of Kununurra is the gateway to this vast and remote region.
Kununurra is really, really hot. 45 degrees, 100% humidity all day.
As the temperatures soar, bushfires threaten.
I'm not looking forward to the next few weeks rattling up and down that climb, I can tell you.
Husband and wife trucking team Nick and Joe Atkins are about to embark on a dangerous trek north, carrying a very special cargo. From Kununurra, they'll drive over 500 kilometres of treacherous roads northwest to the community of Candywall at the very top of Australia. They're carrying a demountable school classroom for a community desperately in need of new infrastructure.
This is the last part of the school that they've been trying to save up for years.
Candywall's current schoolhouse is a basic tin shed, and the children can suffer extreme temperatures while they study.
Really hot here, like 45.
The new classroom will be a game changer. It's the first one to be fitted with its own air conditioner.
So this is actually the school we're picking up right here now. I think they're the transporters I've got to take right there.
In the loading yard at Kununurra, the new classroom has been cut in half for transport.
2 of them, this one here, and they'll just actually push together. They'll take all these off to make one big schoolroom.
To get the classroom off the truck at the other end, we'll need a loader, carried by local builder Ryan Chinney.
Hopefully it all travels well, but you never know with these conditions on the road.
It's his job to reassemble the classroom on site.
Ideally, we'd like to get up there before him, but you never know.
We've got the dongers, he's got the fork, so we both need each other, you know?
The loading of the classroom requires precision.
This end, this way.
And accuracy.
Yep. Yep, pretty good. Yeah, it's fine.
With the wet season fast approaching, time is their enemy.
Rain's coming in. There's already been rain up where we're heading now, like 10 days ago, and a cattle truck got bogged.
If Nick and Joe don't deliver before the wet season hits, the school kids will be sweating for months at school.
That's it trained on.
Waiting for their new air-conditioned classroom. On the Queensland coast.
Remember me? Yes,
Horse trainer turned trucker Mick Sekulich is on his first ever haulage contract. He's trying to convince his nervous cargo to take a long and grueling journey.
There's always a risk around horses of being bitten or being kicked, but if you go in there with confidence and demand that you're the boss, they'll follow.
With the clock ticking, the suspicious steeds are delaying the journey. But Mick and his handler Jessica know that loading horses can't be rushed. The reluctant mother and her young foal are part of $70,000 worth of prized livestock in their care.
I've done this a few times myself.
Redman.
The third member of the road team shows up.
Go.
And the trek west begins.
Out of first gear.
For the next 3,500 kilometres, Mick will be keeping one eye on the road and one eye on the horses.
You see the horses all the time, monitoring. That's the foal calling out for its mother.
This is all new for her. Yeah, so she's pretty good.
With the late departure, Mick is forced to take a gamble on a quicker route through the mountains.
We'll take a shortcut over the range, Peachester Range.
It's an uphill struggle for Mick and his fully loaded truck.
Winding, hairpin bends.
And on this road, there's no room for error.
There isn't any safety ramps here, so if things go pear-shaped, the best thing you can do is run it against the bank.
If he's going to make the delivery on time, he'll need to push his rig to the limit.
Warning light tips coming on. The alternator. We'll have to pull over somewhere.
It's bad news for the rookie trucker. If the alternator overcharges the battery, Mick, Jessica and the horses could be stranded on the steep mountain road. In far western Queensland, an unexpected road closure has forced Justin and John Harrison off the bitumen onto a dirt track detour. It's a devastating turn of events. Their crippled truck is being held together by chains after two wheels were torn from their threads by the vicious Outback roads.
The chains take a fair bit of the stress, but it puts twice the amount of work on the tyres that are still touching the road on that axle.
The extra 78 kilometres of dirt track could tip their damaged truck over the edge. And to rub dust in the wound, out of nowhere, they've got company.
We've got another big fella coming our way. We're going to be eating his dust. We won't be able to see nothing, drive blind. Hey, Dad.
Yeah?
You want to have a drive? I was going to be tired there.
It's tough going in the desert heat. Father and son take it in turns to guide their disabled truck carefully and slowly down the bone-shaking dirt road.
We've got no air conditioning, so it's sort of a bit hot out here at the moment. I reckon today we'll be getting up into the 40s again. Keep our eye on the tyre temperatures. If they get too hot, they get too much pressure in them, and then all of a sudden they start to blow. So that's our main worry going along here. Just want to check everything over, Dad.
The desert temperature rises. Even the local kangaroos are taking shade.
Yeah, they've come up 20 degrees since we last checked them. Yeah, these tyres and everything are starting to get real hot.
Their trailer is crippled. Their tyres are red hot. Justin and John are in damage control.
Should be right. I'm hoping.
With 1,600 kilometres left to go, there's no guarantee they can even make it to the end of the dirt road. In Kununurra, husband and wife trucking team Nick and Joe Atkins are all set to head north, carrying a new air-conditioned classroom for students in a tropical West Australian community. They'll be battling one of the roughest and most isolated tracks in the country. Joe drives ahead in the ute to spot trouble before it bites them.
We're on it. We're on the road going. See how far we get.
It's easy driving as they pass over the Ord River Dam. But Nick's joy is short-lived. The heavy load turns onto the notorious Gibb River Road.
The road turns to dirt just here, and it's dirt from now on of sheer foam and punishment. Just hot weather and rough roads all the way. But she's just about dried up now.
This is dangerous terrain for a fully loaded road train.
I'll just pull up here and fill a water tank for a bath tonight.
Nick needs to be careful. He's in crocodile country.
I wouldn't like to be paddling around the water and having a few beers sitting in there. You might end up with a croc chewing on your leg. Yep. It's salty. I'm not having a bath in salty water. And all them little bumpy things over there, that's what we've got to look forward to. I'm not looking forward to them at all, actually.
The Gibb River Road is a corrugated hell. Hundreds of kilometres of inch-high ridges cover the track, shaking Nick and his load to pieces. The precious air conditioner is suffering under the rough conditions of the road.
You know, we've been sitting on the back here all day, and these tiny little tin plates.
Because it's broken and flaming mounts off there.
Joe and Nick have barely begun the trip, and already their load is starting to fall apart. The truck-destroying Gibb River Road strikes again. On the punishing slopes of Queensland's Peachester Range, Mick Sekulich's maiden delivery run is turning into a rookie's bad dream.
The alternator.
With the alternator overcharging the battery, it's in danger of running seriously hot.
How long does that take to cook the batteries?
An hour. Under load here, probably less.
Struggle on like this, and the battery could shut down or even explode.
I'll have to pull over somewhere. This could be a nightmare.
Mick drives on down the mountain range and pulls over to investigate. Take too long, his fragile load will also be feeling the heat.
When the truck's not moving, we haven't got any airflow going through the trailer. And obviously you've got 7 horses standing in the back there, that's a lot of body heat. So we like to keep the truck moving.
If the truck is stopped for more than 10 minutes, the horses will become agitated and have to be unloaded and rehydrated with water.
Well, there'd be no loose connection or something, so it must be internal.
Under the hood, it doesn't look like an easy fix.
I don't even know what you could do.
But it's not all bad news. The battery isn't overheating yet.
We'll just go the way it is, and as soon as the gauge plays up, I'll pull over, check the batteries.
Okie dokie.
Pushing on is a risk, but it looks like paying off.
See, it's gone down.
The voltmeter is back in a safe range. For the first time on the journey, Mick can relax.
Not a bad road right now.
And make up time on the flat roads.
What a scene. Beautiful. I always wanted to get a big truck, and I always wanted to drive across the continent.
Back on schedule, he finally makes the overnight stop at Ogathella Showgrounds.
Lucky we got here. It was a big day.
Oh, it was a big day for the little bubba, and they've all dropped a little bit of weight, which is, you know, normal. A bit stressful for them. They're looking a lot more bright this morning. They all had a lot to drink, which is really good. We've used a little trick with molasses to make the water really sweet, and that worked a treat.
With the cargo fed and refreshed, the show's back on the road.
Here we go. Saying farewell to Ogathella Showground, but we're running a little bit late.
Mick Sekulich's maiden delivery run heads deep into Outback Queensland to collect an extra steed.
Getting into Blackall, we've got to pick up a horse from the showgrounds.
But as Mick prepares to load up,
the engine light just come on.
His mechanical troubles return.
Oh no, the battery's cooking again. We'll have to get this battery sorted.
This is one of the last outposts before Mick and Jessica take on some of the country's most isolated roads.
We're going to unload the horses here.
It's their final chance for a mechanic to solve the problems that are plaguing the truck.
Thanks for coming out, sir.
Oh, no worries.
Mate. I've got 32 volts, nearly cooked the battery now.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Mick's already a half day behind schedule. he needs to sort the problem fast. On the Birdsville track, John and Justin Harrison are struggling to hold their truck together.
We've got a wheel hanging off the side.
After losing 2 wheels, the shocking dirt road is trying to claim another.
I have to pull up, fix this wheel up, it's coming off.
At more than $500, it would have been another expensive loss for the truckers.
Here, leave that in there, Dad, leave that. Getting tied my way now.
The genius. That's the valve in there.
Not going to go near the valve, though. Righto.
In all of John's 40 years of trucking experience, nothing has prepared him for the struggles of his epic final road trip.
Like coming up the track and losing the wheels and all that sort of stuff. Probably the hardest ride I've done.
After surviving 78 kilometres of dust-choked dirt track, Justin and John finally make it back to the bitumen.
We haven't been able to get any repairs done yet, so we're still running on sort of 2.5 axles. And just to top it all off, I don't think we're going to get anything repaired until we get to Mackay.
There's no time to rest. With temperatures rising fast, they have to get straight back on the road.
I think it's going to be another scorcher today. It's predicted to be up in the 41, 42 degrees. Get a rough count of how far we've got to get done today. Saying 988 k's today. Feels like it's 40 already here.
The father and son team have already been tested to their limits, but the next leg of their journey threatens to be the most dangerous of all.
Fire warnings everywhere on pretty much the second half of the route we're going on today, so hopefully there's no roads blocked off or we don't get cut off by them.
The extreme heatwave conditions have sparked bushfires across coastal regions of northern Queensland.
Yeah, just in front of us now, we're starting to see a bit of haze and a bit of what looks to be smoke building up above the trees there. It's pretty widespread too by the look of it. Looking down the road here, it looks like it's going across the road too, so...
For Justin and John, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Honestly, I can't see these units lasting the full trip.
Nick and Joe's mission to deliver a classroom to a remote community is already in strife.
It's going to undo these and loosen them off and jam a bit of rubber on that.
The classroom air conditioner has taken a hammering from the rough road, but Nick's bush mechanic skills saved the day.
I'll lift that, and so you can slide it under there, straight under this beam. I want it sitting on that beam there. I don't want to push this up too high, otherwise it'll break all these pipes off. Beautiful. Yeah, just take a little bit of vibration out of these mounts here because she's slowly rattling apart.
It's heartbreaking to be the receiver when you get your end product and things broken. Like, yeah, you feel awful.
If that's all the problems I have all the way up, I'll be pleased, very pleased.
The corrugations are slowing the truckers down, and they're worried about the other truck being driven up separately by Kununurra builder Ryan Chinney, carrying the forklift needed to unload the classroom.
I heard on the radio there's a massive wildfire out of control right in Kununurra there at town, and right where the builder's yard is, so it might get delayed and held up, so I don't know, hopefully they're all right.
Well, if the builder doesn't turn up when we're on the road to Mitchell Plateau, I'm going to have to sit in there waiting for him.
With no sign of the other truck and temperatures hitting 40 degrees, Nick and Joe take time out.
Last bath for the next couple of days.
Washing off the road dust in a freshwater creek. It's not just the truckers who get to play. But the moment of relaxation is short-lived.
A few little obstacles across this creek here. Got a big bloody limb sitting up just up here. Trees and crap all over the road.
At a dangerous creek crossing, low-hanging trees threaten to damage their cargo.
Got a bloody tree stuck in there, Donna.
Trouble for the truckers. Wedged under a tree and stranded in the creek. In remote central Queensland, Mick Sekulich's truck is grounded and the cargo of prize horses is going nowhere.
32 volts, nearly cooked the batteries.
Yeah, rightio.
He's called in the truck doctor to help cure his mechanical headache. And it's not long before he recognises the symptoms.
I think it's, if there's a bad earth there.
Could be.
Yeah.
You can see it right there. Terminal's cracked. You think with that earth could be the biggest problem?
Yeah, possibly.
First-class mechanic.
With a new terminal fitted,
You want to jump in and start him up? Let it idle.
the doctor checks if the battery's still overcharging.
What's your gauge?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, about 27.
227. That's all we need, eh? Do you think we can keep going?
Yep, sure can.
So we'll
You
get
want
to, hopefully we get to Winton. Very good, mate.
All good.
Thank you very much.
Too easy.
The truck is given a clean bill of health.
Yeah, my darling. Yes, I'll get your friends in a minute.
Jess can load up the horses. And Mick collects a new passenger.
15-year-old stock horse. We drop him off at Catherine and then he goes to Western Australia from there. All the problems are solved and fixed and we're leaving.
A lot happier.
Pretty good.
Mick's first ever delivery run is back on track. But he still has to transport the horses safely across 2,000 kilometres of isolated outback roads. Any delays and his reputation on this, his first run, will be under siege.
You've got horses on the back. You can break them down on the side of the road if you're on your own. But when you've got animals, that's a different ballgame altogether.
Mick and Jess enter the flood zone. Until recently, the road was underwater, delaying their trip by 2 weeks.
So we're down to 60 k's an hour now. You can see where the water was. Look at that, Jess.
Oh, wow. Look at the fence. Fence is gone.
Everything's down.
With the road only just reopened, conditions ahead are unknown.
Dead cattle. Oh, just hit the big pothole.
Look at that mud that was on the road. That's insane.
No wonder he couldn't pass. He couldn't get through.
What?
Oh, my goodness me. What is going on now? The voltmeter's gone up. The temperature on the truck's gone up as well a bit. We just had that fixed.
We've got no reception, so we're on our own out here.
So we have no reception. All the gauges are up now. There's nowhere to pull over either.
He's a rookie driver on his first ever haulage contract.
Really don't want to cook the batteries.
Mick's debut journey would test even the most experienced outback trucker. Trouble in paradise.
I might have to just break a limb off this tree.
On the Kimberley's Gibb River Road, a tree has smashed into Nick's precious cargo. An air-conditioned classroom destined for the sweltering hot community of Canderwall. When trouble visits way out in the bush, Nick resorts to the best tools available. His bare hands.
Bit of pruning, hopefully. And that's the only tree I have to get up and pull down. See if I can get through here without ripping a roof off. Not really designed for fun. An oversized road train to come through here, that's for sure. But that's part and parcel of the challenge.
The notorious Gibb River Road hasn't finished battling with Nick yet.
That's that one little obstacle bit gone, done.
Ahead in the spotter vehicle, Joe warns of an unexpected steep decline.
We'll just do that first big jump up now, so I'll just pull off here and wait for you to catch up, and then I'll just pull off any traffic that's coming.
Bloody steep.
Nick makes a slow and cautious descent.
Not really the sort of hills you'd be taking a road train up and down. But we've got to get the school building in there, so this is what we have to do.
Too fast and the giant load could force an unwanted momentum on the truck.
You know, you feel the trailer's pushing the truck. It gets you old, it gives you a bit of adrenaline rush. Every time I come over, I think, oh, here we go again.
Getting down the hill was a challenge. Getting up will be harder. Nick splits the load to stand a chance of making it to the top of the hill.
Especially up this little bit here, I got stuck here last week.
Just as he thinks he's got it conquered,
Like this, exactly like this.
history repeats itself.
You dirty bastard. And this is the worst part, trying to reverse that dolly back down. Because I've got an oversized load on it, I don't know where the dolly's going to. I'm moving again, I'll see how I go. Try to keep my drive tyres up in this half hard looking No, I don't think I'm going to get up here.
A steep incline, an oversized load, tyres losing traction. It's the hill from hell.
This really worries me.
In the floodlands of northwest Queensland, rookie trucker Mick Sekulich is running out of options.
It's pumped 32 volts into the batteries now.
An overheating battery is threatening to shut down. Mick needs to solve the problem or it could explode, leaving his fragile $70,000 cargo stranded.
Keep going, it will boil the batteries.
Pull over and he risks getting bogged on the side of the highway.
You can see where the water was. It's still muddy.
With nowhere to go, Mick decides to stop on the road.
There's no traffic anywhere.
At a standstill on a 130km/h highway, Mick needs to find a solution fast before any other vehicles show up.
Getting frustrated.
I'm disconnecting the main power supply from the alternator. This will stop the batteries overheating, cooking the batteries.
Shutting down the alternator is a quick fix to get him moving, but risks draining the battery.
Everything's back to normal. All I can do now is just keep an eye on the batteries. There we go. Lucky there was no other trucks or anything, so it wasn't very smart, but that was the only option I had.
Mick's bought himself some time with his unconventional roadside repair. For a few hundred kilometres, he can leave his mechanical worries behind and aim for the Northern Territory border.
We just crossed the border. We're in Northern Territory now. Green grass and blue skies.
The makeshift fix sees Mick through to the final overnight stop, Banka Station. Mick's delivery deadline is closing in. His clients in Katherine and Darwin are expecting their horses by early afternoon.
Pretty hot in Northern Territory. I don't cope too well with heat either myself.
Disconnecting the alternator has got him this far, but with 700 kilometres to the finish line, Mick needs to hook it back up or risk running the battery flat.
I'm going to disconnect the alternator again till we get to Katherine. I'll worry about the truck then.
It's been 4 days of mechanical pain, and it's not over yet.
This is what happens if you don't turn the isolating switch off. What a trip. Right, we can go again.
The novice trucker has battled over 3,000 kilometres of outback roads and won.
The first drop-off.
He makes Katherine on time, delivering the first horse to a happy customer.
There's the boy. There you go, Katie. Hey, mate. One's gone, 6 to go.
With easy driving, Mick arrives just ahead of schedule in Darwin, his final destination.
We are here, we are done. I can't tell you how good it feels.
Mick's not the only one pleased to be here.
You're all right, baby.
The much-loved horses are safely delivered.
We just got here in time. It was a long 4 days.
An unforgettable first run for Mick.
For your maiden trip, it's always teething problems, you know.
And Jess too.
Come here, little baba. I got attached to them. I'll get to see them if I come back.
Mick discovers there's no rest for outback truckers. Another deadline is already closing in.
We've got a show in Victoria, so I'm really looking forward to getting home.
In remote North Queensland, Justin Harrison is taking his truck-driving father John on one last long-haul job.
Yeah, just in front of us now, we can start to see a bit of haze and a bit of what looks to be smoke building up above the trees there.
It's been a hair-raising journey already, and with smoke clouds on the horizon, they could be driving straight into a bushfire.
Looking down the road here, it looks like it's going across the road too, so yeah, it might be an interesting afternoon. Yeah, you got a channel there at the time, mate. Is there any fires and that down this way?
I haven't seen any like smoke around light into the coast. I think I'll have to between you and Emerald anyway.
Yeah, right, mate, no worries. It's all back that way anyway.
It's the first bit of good luck on their whole trip. The father and son are exhausted. Their truck is crippled, held together by chains. But they have a clear run all the way to their final destination in Mackay.
Long trip, big relief to get here.
Thankfully, we're here. We're in one piece.
It's been a challenging final hurrah for John.
Probably the hardest one I've done. This is the last big long trip I'll be doing.
Mackay farmer Joe said is relieved to see his 30-tonne combine harvester arrive safely.
It all looks good. Yeah, it looks like it weathered the trip well. Justin, you made it up.
Glad to be here. Everything's here in one piece except for the truck, so... Hey, mate.
Good trip, mate.
Made it here. Yeah, bit of a journey with this trailer, losing some wheels and stuff.
Justin and John's journey packed an entire career of hazards into one trip.
The old mates and corrugations are back.
Their truck was destroyed.
We've lost a set of wheels.
John's son nearly crushed.
Oh, shit. I'm too fat to get out.
And bushfires threatening at the finish line.
It's a long trip with no aircon.
That's for sure.
After 40 years of service, a veteran Outback trucker says goodbye to the road.
I'm pretty comfortable with what I've done now. I will be missing my son, you know, when he's out there on his own, and I'll be at home and he'll be out on the road and doing what he's got to do.
In remote Western Australia, husband and wife trucking team Nick and Joe Atkins are stranded on a steep hill.
No, I don't think I'm going to get up here.
They've split their giant cargo into two smaller loads. Nick calls in some extra mechanical muscle.
I'll hook that Hilux on the front of it and it'll give me an extra little bit of help in hand.
I hate this stuff.
Rightio, just slowly take off in first.
Pulling a loaded rig up a steep incline is a precision manoeuvre.
Give it a little bit.
The husband and wife truckers need to bring their A game.
Over in the middle of the road.
Give it a little bit more.
There's an eye stall, then Nick will stop, and then the whole process will start again, and then we'll roll backwards. And I hate that.
We got it. I think. Yeah, no, we're up now. Well and truly, she's right now. The wife saved the day again. That'll do you. Now, your trailer, you can go tow the next one up.
They've conquered the hill once. Now they have to do it all over again.
I'm going to tackle this one with a little bit of speed. Get some black soot flying out of them.
Second time around, they've got experience on their side.
We're up. That's what I should have done with the first one.
They're on the home stretch, but the Gibb River Road offers no relief.
Can't get up pace. And I've got overhanging trees and corrugations and rocks, and it's just a slow bloody trip.
Nick's worried that the truck carrying the heavy machinery to offload the classroom won't make it up the hill.
Nothing coming behind me. It starts making me, you know, I've gone all this way and there's nothing there to unload me. You know, that means I've just got to sit here like I'm stuffed. I can't do nothing else. Here we go, Candywell community.
In Candywell, the community are happy to see their new classroom arrive safely.
Hey, how you going? Yeah, Nick. New school? Yeah. Kids will be excited? Yeah.
And a few minutes later, Nick and Joe are happy to see Ryan arrive with the forklift they need for the unload.
Isn't it amazing, eh? In the most remote part of the Kimberley, and you can arrive somewhere within 2 minutes of each other.
Ryan, how you going? Just made in time?
Beat us, eh?
Business end of things now.
Full up.
It's taken more than 500 kilometres tackling one of Western Australia's toughest roads to get here. But the air-conditioned classroom has arrived in good shape.
That's it, so she's on the ground.
You know, it's just a real nice thing to be able to get it wrapped up and feel like, oh, that's good for them, you know. It's one of those jobs that matters a bit more.
The students and teachers are thrilled to be cool for school.
We got it now. Yeah, very happy for it.
The builder's there doing it, and now I'm out of here.